Hey, coming up in May, we have a huge music event coming to Southern Indiana. We're going to give you all of the details about it. We got 5 bands coming from Southern Indiana, bands that have toured all over the world are going to descend on Southern Indiana. Again, we're going to give you those details. But today we have the privilege of having one of the members of the bands that are going to come to town. The band is Chaotic Resemblance, and I have Travis with me. Travis, thanks for joining us.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good. Hey, I looked at your guys' website and looked at some of your social media. You guys have been all over the world to play. Tell me, where are you guys located? Where are you based out of? And other than Southern Indiana, where's the best place that you've ever been to? Was
Well, we are located in a small town called Poto, Oklahoma. It's pretty close to Fort Smith, Arkansas. We like to call it the pretty part of Oklahoma. It's very hilly. We actually have what they call the world's highest hill here. It's a foot away from being a mountain. It's called Kavanaugh. It's really cool, in my opinion. Shameless plug for Poto, though. And then the coolest place. Oh, golly, that's a tough question, man. I really love Colorado. Me and my wife, we like to go there, just even family vacations and stuff. It's just so pretty there. We love the mountains and all that kind of stuff. We love running in the trails and hiking and snowboarding and all the stuff that you can do there. So I would probably say Colorado is pretty special place for many reasons.
yeah, Colorado's tough to beat. The mountains are amazing. You can't capture it with a camera.
No, you
I mean,
can't.
every time you try, it just fails. But man, you get your eyes on the Rockies. It's something special.
Oh, dude. I know. It's just even the trees are different. You pull, it's like you cross the border into Colorado and you could tell by the trees.
Yeah, no kidding. Well,
Crazy.
even I took my family there a couple of years ago, and young kids, teenage boys on their phones. And I said, "Hey, guys, you want to put your phones down for a second?" The second these kids
Yeah.
see the mountains, I mean, there's just something that it does to people.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm right
Yeah.
there with you. But you guys, I looked at your tour schedule. You're all over the place. You were in Germany a couple of years ago.
Yep.
So you guys have been around. You have several albums that you've dropped, but for people who may not know who you are, tell us a little bit about the band, who's in it, kind of what your inspirations are, who has
Yeah.
influenced you musically.
Yeah, well, okay. So Chaotic Resemblance, we're a Christian rock band. As far as our members go, I sing and I play bass. And Logan Ellis, he's the lead guitar player in the band. And then James Stallhammer, he is our drummer. As far as influences go, man, that's a big list with a few different opinions. But with me personally, I grew up in a very, very, I guess, gospel home. My parents were ministers, and I grew up on things like the Gaither Vocal Band and like old school stuff like the Happy Goodmans. And I just really fell in love with music. At a young age, and I would put on a little suit tie, outfit and act like I was in the Gaithers and would sing. And then, like I said, my dad was a minister, so he was actually a youth pastor. So I was introduced to stuff like Carmen after that, and
Mhm.
thought Carmen was the coolest guy in the world. I still love Carmen. And then somewhere along the way, got introduced to things like Striper and the harder rock stuff, and bands like Audio Adrenaline. And I don't know how familiar you are with the old Christian rock music, but
Uh-huh.
I was really highly influenced by that stuff. And then when I got into high school, I really loved a lot of like 80s rock and 70s rock stuff. And you can hear a lot of that when we play still. That was really the time period I really started learning how to write and figuring out that I didn't have the voice of, Michael English from the Gaither Vocal Band.
Yeah,
So, like, you know what? Let's try this rock thing.
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, that's me, anyways. And the guys, they have totally different stories, but that's mine.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I always say if my brothers and sisters in Christ would find my old mixtapes, it'd be kind of that same thing. Everything from light rock to heavy metal to everything in between. But for someone who loves music, we can be influenced by a lot of different genres, right?
Sure. Oh, absolutely. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about um, even songwriting is that you can wear all that into a song, and it can be something that is familiar yet has never been done.
Mhm.
but it's familiar in the right ways. Oh, that reminds me of this. That band, dude, they remind me of this. I haven't heard nothing that good since, fill in the blank.
Right.
And that's the great parts. I remember I was pretty frustrated when I first started the band, and I wanted to sound like Bon Jovi. I wanted to be that polished and good. And I remember telling my dad, I just can't seem to write songs like that. And he was like, man, just write what the Lord gives you on your heart, and don't worry about how wanting to sound a certain way. And that advice really has carried me in songwriting even till now. I'm 32 and I'm still using that advice I got 20 years ago from my dad. It's so true, man. Just don't don't worry about that.
Right. Well, speaking of writing and writing what comes from the heart, you're going to be coming here to town, Southern Indiana, in a couple of months for this concert event. Is there a song that you're going to play while you're here? If so, tell that's special to you, and the lyrics pop out. Tell us what that song is, and let's kind of talk about the lyrics.
Yeah, well, for me, my favorite song that we've ever written is called "Fairest Jesus." It's a very special song to me. I love the scriptures. I'm definitely a man of the word, and I love the book of Song of Solomon. And it's pretty much copy and pasted out of Song of Solomon 5, and it's all about the beauty of the Lord, and it just talks about, one of the lyrics is, "What does He have more than others? What makes him different? What makes this different than all the religions and all the other things out there? Why is Christianity different? What makes, it's like if you're a Christian and you're on your work or whatever, and your coworkers are like, what's different about you? And you start to tell them, I would hope that they could tell by looking at my life that something is something is different, and then I could tell them, well, it's because he's altogether lovely. It's because he died for me. It's because his body, his blood, is all these many things that you can talk about the Lord. And in that chapter, she lists, I think, about 10 to 15 attributes of her beloved. And I think it's just a beautiful image. And one of the things she says is, "This is my beloved. This is my friend." And in the chorus, we sing, "Yahweh, this is my beloved. This is my friend." So it's my favorite song to sing. And it seems to be the one where anywhere that people pick up really quick. I remember we were in Germany last January, and we were playing in a bar there on a Thursday night. And for some reason, this bar was packed on a Thursday night in Germany. And they love music over there. But when we started singing that song, it was so cool to me, because even the people who you thought just didn't even care start singing it by the second half of the chorus, because it's just really catchy, and they're singing, "Yahweh, this is my beloved, this is my friend." I don't even know if they know what they're singing, but to me, a song that can do that is an important song. And I just love that song. So
Yeah.
it's very special. And anybody who likes chaotic, that's one of the top two, top three songs that we have to play. We had a girl one time, a little girl. We didn't play it. We played down in Texas. I can't remember exactly where, and but we played down in Texas, and she came and her family came, and they drove down there, and she had one desire, to hear "Fairest Jesus." We didn't play "Fairest Jesus," and she cried for 3 hours straight. Then we didn't play "Fairest Jesus." She was so heartbroken. Well, after the concert, I pulled out my acoustic guitar out of the trailer and set it up with their family and sang her the song. But I was like, I'm gonna have to keep playing the song.
Yeah. Well, I do love the lyrics that you have here. What does he have more than others? What makes this different than all the religions? What does he have more than the others? I say, chief among the 10,000. He's altogether lovely. It's an amazing. I always say that every Christian song should contain a sermon, and so you just look through there. You're pulling it from Scripture, and you can see what makes him different, and that he's altogether lovely. I love the thought and the way that you all crafted this.
Oh, thank you, brother. I completely agree with that. It's very important for us, and different bands do it different ways, and we've done it the other way, but this seems to be the better way, in my opinion. Is if you're gonna take on that title, you're gonna be a Christian band, then man, sing about Christ.
Yeah,
You know what? Because then at the end of the day, what makes you different than the other bands?
yeah, yeah. Well, let me ask you this, and maybe a little bit of a dangerous question, but you've toured all over. Even again this year, I'm looking at your tour schedule. You're Midwest, you're East, you're all over the place. Like I said, you've done some international stuff as well. You talked about your influences. when you guys as a heavy metal Christian band, and you
Yeah.
have a different appearance than the Gaither band and Carmen, do you think that you guys can reach an audience that those folks can't or couldn't?
Yeah, that is always an interesting question. I would say just off the cuff, I have to give yes or no. I would say yes, but at the same time, I think it's not that they couldn't have reached them. It's just to open up the door to for somebody to open their heart is a whole different thing. Is would anybody would would the kind of people maybe that we're able to reach, some of the people we're able to reach, would they ever be found dead listening to the Gaither vocal band or be somewhere to at a place and would they ever be, would there ever be anything that would actually they'd open their heart?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I would say, yeah, I think so. It's an interesting question because I don't want to be like, there's no way that,
Yeah.
Bill Gaither could reach that guy and I can,
Right. Right.
it's definitely, by the Holy Spirit that we can reach anybody. But at the same time, I know from personal experience playing at a lot of bars and clubs over the years and going and trying to talk to people before we play, and they almost say, get the blank out of my face.
Mm-hmm.
They just do not want to talk. And then those same guys who were so hard to even have a conversation with before, their hearts were so hard, an hour later when we get done playing, came up to me, with tears in their eyes and their hearts are completely open because they were hooked in from the message and that was in the package of the band. And we see Chaotic as a vehicle for the gospel to ride in on, and not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, the gospel's not a vehicle so our band can play. It's our band plays so the gospel can be preached. And so I think, yeah, because a lot of those kind of guys, they're rockers. They don't want to, and they've never heard my band before. They don't know if I'm the real deal, and then they're like, "Hey, you guys are the real deal," and then they're ready to talk. So I think for sure, and I think that's why another reason it's so important to be excellent, especially if you're going to carry that name as a Christian, whatever. It's important to be excellent. Just even from that standpoint, to the world needs to know, like, man, Jesus is incredible. And I think a great way to show that is by being as incredible as you can with whatever he's gifted you in.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, oh, well, they're Christian, they're good for a Christian band.
Yeah. Yeah.
it should it should be the other way around. Like, they're good because they're a Christian band. They have Christ working, through them, for them. Like, of course they're good,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love your answer, and it's a no way a bash on Gaither band. I grew up with them, Zell and Carmen, but different people are drawn to different styles of music, and I
Yeah.
love that you said it's a vehicle. It is a vehicle to reach people and open doors that may not otherwise talk to you at all, except for the fact that they heard your music for it first, and the lyrics touched them, and so now that opens a conversation. He is Travis with Chaotic Resemblance. Let me give you a little bit of details on this event that's coming up. It is the second annual Derby Eve Faith Night. It's going to be on Friday, May 3rd at 7 p.m. In Memphis, Indiana. We're going to give you a link to where you can go get more information. You can get tickets. Tickets are really affordable on this one. I think as of the time of this recording, we got a couple of VIP tickets still left. That gets you early entry, gets you backstage. You can meet Travis, shake his hand there. $15 for those. General admission is $10. Still plenty of those left. But we got 5 bands: Chaotic Resemblance, The Revelators, Hush Harbor, Big Rev is coming to town, Jonathan Jackson. What is it that you love about performing live, Travis?
Oh man, I can go on and on about that. What is it I love performing live? It's more like my list would be easier to answer that by saying, what do I not like about
Yeah.
performing live?
Yeah.
I mean, I love everything about it. I love people. That would be definitely up there on the top of my list. I love I love getting to present the gospel through message, through our songs. Um, I love I love concerts. I grew up going to all kinds of concerts. I love it all. I love the energy of it all. I love how people again will open their hearts to hear the word of the Lord in a concert in a way that not seen in a lot of other areas. Man, I love it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's one of the things like my whole life, like I just always wanted to do that. Like I always wanted to be in some kind of band, some kind of something. And so for me, it's a dream come true, whether it's like 10 people or whether, it's way more.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. There's days where it's not as fun, like when I can't seem to play the right thing for some reason, or I forgot the words or whatever. But what's interesting on days like that, where it's like the worst scenarios, sound isn't working, whatever it might be, strings are breaking, the worst things you could think of, sometimes the very best things happen in those shows. And the lives that were changed forever were at those shows. And some of the best memories I have since I've been playing in the band since 2006, 2007 has been those like worst shows.
Yeah.
But they're even if it's just so funny looking back and going, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
Like I was in New York one time and a girl came up and hit me in the face and then grabbed my hair, started pulling my hair around. It's a long story. My wife had to pull her off me. But it's like it's such a funny story now. It was
Yeah.
horrible at the time, and you're just like, I'm never playing again.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, I can imagine. Well, I've looked at some of your all's videos, very high energy band. I got to imagine that's only magnified in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
And so, well, look, we are excited to have you come to town, be a part of this music event, Derby Eve Faith Night, and join some of the other bands here in Southern Indiana. Where can people find you online?
Yeah, I mean, just any of the platforms, just chaoticresemblance.com. Check us out, Facebook, and Instagram. I guess I don't know that it's Twitter anymore, X, whatever they call it.
Right. Yeah.
YouTube, iTunes, any Spotify, anything that you listen to music on. We should just be about on everything, I would figure.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you type in chaotic resemblance, even get on your Safari and just type it in on Google or whatever, and there'll be all kinds of things that pop up. So
I'll provide a link to chaoticresemblance.com. I was on there earlier. You've got your albums are on there. Looks like some merch that can be ordered. You can see the concert dates. Travis, we're looking forward to having you all come to town again, May 3rd, 7 p.m. Safe Harbor Christian Church. We'll put a link to the tickets, and we look forward to connecting with you soon. I'll be the MC for the night, so
go.
I'll be bugging all the band's members backstage, and it's going to be a great show for folks to come out to.
Yeah, and I think it would be good to reiterate it is Memphis, Indiana, not Tennessee or Egypt. So
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Travis, with Chaotic Resemblance, we'll get this out to folks, and we look forward to seeing you all soon.
great.